WWE Extreme Rules is this Sunday. We're going to go through our full match card, our predictions, who's going over, who's losing, who's taking home some of the gold. It's a B-level pay-per-view show, I know, so I don't have my expectations. Yeah, they're right around here. It's more like this. I gotta be honest, I still do enjoy Extreme Rules as a pay-per-view, but this year is kind of wonky. It doesn't really feel like it's gonna be much of a pay-per-view in itself, other than maybe the Universal Championship. Overall thoughts on this, guys, is I think it's gonna be kind of just a middle-of-the-road pay-per-view. The current iterations of like Great Balls of Fire or Backlash or Great Balls of Fire. That was a bad one, wasn't it? And I do expect some matches to be added to the card from the time of this recording, so let's just go through the match card as it is today, give you our predictions. Before I do that, do Matt a huge favor. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers, so support the Assemble community as best you can. Hit that subscribe button, it's totally free. Hit the notification bell if you want to get updates and notifications on when we actually have new episodes popping up almost every single day of the week. And please go check out Assemble XP. It's the playlist within the channel. Myself, my buddy Court, cover all things Xbox pretty much every day. Multiple episodes a week, talking all things Xbox with you guys. Now, let's get right into it. The first match on the card, SmackDown. We're going to be looking at Liv Morgan versus Carmella. This is very much a SmackDown match. Like, this is just, there's not much else going on with this. Liv Morgan has been like floundering, and that's not because like that's not what I want. I want her to do better. She is better than that. Carmella is also pretty good as a talent, but Liv Morgan, her storyline arc has always been kind of wonky up and down. She had a decent push with Money in the Bank, remember? And then that just stopped. And now that Becky Lynch is back, and Bianca is in the main event, they're mixing it up. Liv is down with Carmella and Zelina Vega and whatever this mid card is. You know what they need? Honest to God, they need like the women's intercontinental title. They need like the women's mid-level, like just title. Like they gotta have something in there. What would you guys have as a like women's intercontinental US title? What would you call it? What would it be? Let me know in the comments. This one has, I don't really give too much about this. I'm literally looking at WWE.com in the write-up. I do want to quote it because it's kind of funny. Morgan and Carmella have been at odds on SmackDown for like 2 weeks. As a result, Mella's continued claim that she is the most beautiful woman in all of WWE. All hell broke loose when Morgan sent into the turnbuckle face first, and Mella thought her opponent was attempting to break her nose during a tag match on September 17th edition of the Blue Brand. Liv challenged her to a match at Extreme Rules and promised that she would make her adversary as hideous on the outside she was on the inside. So, is it an Extreme Rules match? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised though if they turn this into like a hardcore match, Extreme Rules match. I'll never say hardcore. Extreme Rules match that has like a kendo stick brought into it, and maybe that's what they do. I don't feel like this is gonna be much. I hope that Liv actually gets comeuppance on Carmella. So we're going with Liv Morgan is going over in this one. Now, a match that's probably going to be really, really good is going to be the next one. SmackDown Tag Team Championship, the Usos versus the Street Profits. They want the smoke. They all want the smoke. This one should be really entertaining. I think they'll give them a lot of time. This should be around like a 20-25 minute match if they really wanted to push this thing. The Street Profits haven't been doing much in the way of the tag division and getting in the title scene, also because the bloodline is all like messed up. They're all in their own storyline going on right now with the Tribal Chief. And I'm glad that they're branching things over and getting into like tag titles again with Street Profits, but we've seen this match before. I don't feel like there's a ton of build to it, and we were just coming off the heels of the New Day versus the Bloodline over on Raw. They're pushing that match super hard. So going from that just a few days ago to go right into a tag title match on Extreme Rules, I don't feel like it's going to change anything really. Frankly, I'd rather see the New Day go up against the Usos in this match, but we're getting on the cusp of the draft too, right? So we're kind of in this weird limbo with Extreme Rules. Like, we have to have this pay-per-view, and I don't expect a lot to change here. That's why I think that the Usos are going to go over. We keep the Bloodline strong. They got to be holding those tag titles for quite a while. I think that they're going to hold those tag titles till maybe even Royal Rumble, because we got to look at how this whole draft is actually going to shake out. Usos are going over. Next up, United States Championship. The champion, Damian Priest, is going up against Sheamus and Jeff Hardy, who's recently been added to the match. I think that this match is very much designed to get Priest over even more. You've got two legends in the match mixing it up together. We know that Hardy and Sheamus can have really good match. They've had the feud in the past over on SmackDown, which I thought was actually really good. I like Sheamus's character work right now. I think it's just fun. He's very, very entertaining right now. Hardy is just kind of doing his thing. He's there to put other guys over right now, which is good. It's a good spot for him. The goal here should be to try to get Priest over even more with the crowd. You want to see him defeat Sheamus. Jeff Hardy should probably be doing some big move. It's Extreme Rules, so fingers crossed if we end up seeing something that's a triple threat, and with WWE's rules or lack thereof, these triple threats are technically no DQ, I guess, based off what we saw on Raw. So maybe Hardy is going to bust out a ladder. I wish they would actually put this into an actual like Extreme Rules themed match. Make it a tables match. Make it a ladder match for the US title. Something that would actually draw a little bit more, but they haven't built it that way. So we're getting a rematch. We're getting Priest, Sheamus, Hardy in there. Again, I think Hardy does a cool spot. I think Sheamus takes the pin, and I think you need to get Priest over even more. This is one of those young talents that WWE really wants to be able to mold and really push over the next couple of years. So you got to keep Priest strong for at least another couple of months with that title, so we can build him up even further, so we can move beyond Sheamus and Jeff Hardy, move into a different program altogether. But Damian Priest is going over on Sheamus. Next up, we got the man returning, going into her like first full actual title defense since making her return at SummerSlam. Becky Lynch is going up against Bianca Belair. It's a rematch from what we saw at SummerSlam, where she beat Bianca Belair in just a matter of seconds. I think that this takes a lot more time to build. I think in this match, you need to have a proper showing where Bianca almost beats Becky multiple times, and you need Becky to look strong, but trying to put over Bianca as much as possible. I do think that at the end of the day, we are going to get Becky Lynch actually going over in this match. She's going to retain the title against Bianca, but I think it needs to set up for probably one more match coming out of this. If it doesn't, if this comes out as being a very clean win for Becky Lynch, where she does beat Bianca in like a really hard fought showing, and you need to give the ladies like 25 minutes for this thing to really breathe if you want to do it properly, because after this we start really rolling into the draft and Survivor Series, which again could be really gimmicked up with brand versus brand again. I don't know if you're going to even bother with extending this feud. I think that if you do the draft, and we will do a draft episode later on this month, but I think that you need to have Bianca go over to Raw, get her out of SmackDown. She's lived there forever. Get her on Raw, fresh feuds, change things up. But I think you are going to have Becky Lynch go over. She needs to build up that heel persona even more. Strong win over Bianca, holding the title, is going to give her more of that credibility. A win where Bianca just kind of loses like a little bit, and then move her over to Raw. It will put her in a good spot. Fans will still be excited to have her over there, and she can kind of get a fresh start in the women's division over on the Raw brand. Becky Lynch is going over. And for the Raw Women's Championship, you've got Charlotte Flair versus the crazy one, Alexa Bliss, going to go at it. And they had the little playground segment over on Raw. Thought it went a little bit too long. There were reports out there actually this week that around hundreds of fans, the numbers are throwing around are like 700 fans, left the arena during the actual Alexa Bliss Charlotte promo segment that they had on Raw. This could be because it was on the 10 o'clock hour. A lot of fans felt like they saw everything. They saw the opening match with Roman Reigns and the Usos. So maybe a lot of fans were just trying to get out because it is like a 3+ hour show live, which is unfortunate because the women are doing the best they can, trying to keep butts in the seats and do their thing. I think that they're doing better with Bliss at this point. She's starting to really own this character on her own. I'm not crazy about Lily and all the doll stuff and the gimmicky stuff, and Charlotte really wants to be able to have like a straight up one-on-one match with the real competitor in Bliss. I don't know what this match is really going to do. Again, because we have the draft coming up, I feel like this is a like non-finish. I think Charlotte is going to retain. I do not actually want to see her lose the title because I'm getting really tired of seeing Charlotte get the title back again in a matter of weeks. I think she's had the title too much so that it's ranking up like all of her title wins, and it's getting really big, and not in a good way where she doesn't have long title reigns. I think you want to keep Charlotte built up higher and higher so somebody big can take her down, maybe like a Bianca getting drafted over to Raw to take her down in the future. For this, it would be good though if they could explore more character work for Alexa Bliss. Maybe if she gets a big loss to Charlotte, that it kind of breaks her a little bit, and maybe it will change Bliss's character a little bit more, maybe swing her a little bit more on the normal side, because there's only so much you can do with this gimmick with the playground and the doll and everything. I don't feel like it's going to be able to have much longer in the legs, because otherwise I feel it's rinse and repeat. You're going to get somebody else to walk up to her, and it's going to be the playground and the segment and Lily, and they look at the doll weird, and then they have a match. So this, I do think Charlotte is going to go over. I think she should go over strong and clean and beat Bliss, but I think that there needs to be a fallout for Alexa Bliss coming out of this thing and then getting around the time of the draft and Survivor Series. Now, a couple of matches that we're talking about at the beginning of this episode that are not announced as of yet, and I would probably bank on us seeing something with the women's tag team titles, where you actually have Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley as the new new tag team champions, women's champions, and they might actually get a rematch against the former champions, or they're just going to take on another team. They might even be left off the show and just do a promo or something, but they're not on schedule on the card as of yet. I can see them at most trying to do some sort of rematch, but that's about it. The other one is the Intercontinental Champion, Shinsuke Nakamura. Apollo Crews is in the mix. They're heating that up a little bit. I personally really like Apollo Crews, and I like his character the way it is right now. I just wish they would actually do more with him, and they really have not, and now they're trying to build him again to be a good foil for Nakamura. I think that this match will get added to the show. I don't see why not. You need to fill this out a little bit more. If we do get that IC title match, I still think Shinsuke is going to go over. They love doing the stuff with Rick Booge and doing the guitar and all of that, and Pat McAfee on commentary. They love all of that with Nakamura, so I think he's going to retain, and you are actually going to see maybe Apollo Crews head over to Raw, try to change things up, win that United States title. I think Apollo versus Damian Priest for a US title, that would be a lot of fun. Maybe get Apollo to take that title off him, be the United States champion with his strong gimmick that he has, and get Damian Priest to chase him. I think that could be a lot of fun. But Apollo Crews is going to lose that match, and Nakamura is going to retain the IC title. The other thing is some of the stars that we don't have announced and that are nowhere to be seen: Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And isn't it kind of interesting that we have no Kevin Owens at all, even though he is still around? But the whole rumor going around circulating that his contract is coming up in January, I wonder if they are going to start to really just move Kevin Owens away and tuck him away and not really advertise him all that much. And then maybe just he quietly leaves. I don't know. And they just kind of end his contract up in January. Probably going to be in Survivor Series in some capacity, but I don't think that at this point, him or Sami Zayn, they're going to give any large meaty stories, especially when their contracts are kind of in limbo right now. The other stars we don't have any announcements for is going to be Bob Lashley, and we don't have Big E, and we don't have Brock Lesnar on the show. And those are huge, huge attractions, especially your WWE champion is not on the show, your newly crowned WWE champion. I started to think that maybe they would do a WWE championship rematch with Bob Lashley versus Big E, but they haven't announced it yet, and it would feel very rushed and last minute to just put it on .com for the WWE title, and would feel more of an afterthought. So in one hand, I'm glad they're keeping it off the show. You don't want to kind of overstay its welcome, but I do need to see something from these guys on this pay-per-view. Bob Lashley's been just wreaking havoc on Raw. I love what they did in the triple threat with him. I'd like to see him take out Big E, maybe backstage, or Big E does a promo in the ring, Lashley comes out, and they just brawl for 5 minutes. Maybe do something like that to at least keep it more engaged and keep it interesting. And then Brock, I know, is going to be a crown jewel, and they're going to do that match. They might do Lashley versus Goldberg at Crown Jewel as well. So Goldberg could get that win over Lashley. That could set a few things up down the road of Lashley getting even more frustrated that he's losing. So stay tuned for that when we do a review or predictions for Crown Jewel. I don't like Crown Jewel. I think it's very silly. Main event time. Tribal Chief Roman Reigns is going up against the Demon Finn Balor. And this one, Tribal Chief is winning. We know this. Come on, guys. What are we kidding right now? Tribal Chief has been going strong. He's been just taking guys out left and right. He's just Superman punching people. Just fisticuffs everywhere. It's insane. Spear. He came out strong on Raw the whole show. Nobody has been able to take him down. The bigger story arc that they're going with is Brock Lesnar, and I think we're going to get that at crown jewel. We're going to get that at Survivor Series or beyond that, but they got to keep Roman strong. He's going to keep that title for a very long time, in my opinion. Finn Balor, unfortunately, not going to win the Universal Championship at Extreme Rules as like a B-level pay-per-view, very low B, like a B-. So I think that we are going to get a strong showing from Finn. These kind of matches, we've seen it before where like Finn took on Brock Lesnar before, and that was killer. I think you're going to have a very similar style match where Finn is going to give you those really big hope spots, like he could actually win and beat Roman, but I do think that Roman is ultimately just going to surprise everybody with a big spear, end them 1, 2, 3. The thing is, though, is that like you're defeating the demon character, which is supposed to be like the stronger, superpowered Finn Balor. And if you defeat him, you really can't bring the demon back for a very long time. And I do wonder again, what are you going to do with Finn if he's been teetering around Universal title as a secondary player to John Cena and now to Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns? He's the TV main event foil for Roman right now. And to me, again, this whole pay-per-view is very much a SmackDown or a Raw, like super show. I don't know what they're going to do with Finn after this. This is what I'm very curious about as he went from NXT to main roster. Roman Reigns is going over. You might get a Brock Lesnar at the very end of this. Maybe Big E makes a run-in just to mess with Roman Reigns a little bit, so they could tease potentially a Survivor Series matchup where you're going to have one-on-one, or where you're going to get the Bloodline versus the New Day again. Over at Survivor Series. Maybe they're going to go down that path. But what do you all think of Extreme Rules coming up this Sunday? Let Matt know in the comments below. And if you enjoy that episode, check out more of our WWE coverage we have over here on the channel. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And as always, thank you all for assembling with us. See ya.